So I want to speak into the importance of having a coach, having a community, having someone with a capacity to listen and reflect. It doesn't have to be a coach, it could be a friend, but it takes a certain level of skill to maneuver us out of our patterns and conditioning. And this is what happened for me today. I'm in the coaching community, and a misunderstanding was weighing heavy on me. I got my nervous system got very activated, and I was blamed for something that I thought I was right about. And it was very weird because I don't get triggered that often and that deep. And that was a big nervous system activation. So I was like, wow. And like my ego wanted to like push this away and be like, it's not a big deal. You'll figure it out. You know, somehow you'll have this conversation and make it work. And not wanting to approach this conversation knowing that it could be at fault, you know, the ego can be at fault, I can be at fault. So I brought this in my coaching community, not my coaching community, into my community, to my mentor and coach. And it got entangled, and all of a sudden I saw that I was actually at wrong. To some degree, I was at wrong, and my body was reacting, but I didn't really understand why or how, because it was just so unconscious. And we've untangled it through language, and it was so powerful, and it was so simple as well. But from where I was, I couldn't see it, so I needed someone else to reflect that back to me. And now I just feel so at peace and so complete going into this conversation where I need to clean up, you know, whatever I created, the impact that my behavior created. And it feels so light and it feels so good. And I'm like, I wonder if not for this conversation, like how long would I have held on to the self-righteousness about it, and how would the conversation go once I would come with this attitude, like I'm right and you're wrong. Because that's the default, you know, of the ego. Ego always wants to be right and thinks that it's right. And it takes a greater level of awareness and someone reflecting back to you by asking certain questions for you to really see what is actually at play. You know, what did I say or didn't say, do or didn't do, that created that impact, that created my nervous system reaction. And once you untangle it through language, all of a sudden it becomes simple. And there's no more, you know, this heaviness around it. So that's why it's important to have someone to speak it out, to unpack it, you know, to dissolve it, and see how simple that actually is. But because we're holding on to things, we think that we will somehow figure it out, or maybe we'll brush it under the carpet and it won't resurface. No, it always lingers and it always weighs on us. And it's just one of the patterns that it played out in one scenario, it will play out in another scenario. And, you know, it won't stop until you will see it and address it. So that's why I felt so deeply passionate about just sharing of the power of being in a conversation with someone with a greater awareness around the things that you think you may know, or like I didn't really know, but what I knew was I'm right. What I've discovered that I may not actually be right, and I'm not right. You know, there was a different way that I could have navigated it that my ego wasn't willing to see because it was right. So if you are carrying a problem, a misunderstanding, or something that's lingering and lingering and lingering inside of you, just know that actually it can be resolved like that. It actually is simple, but it's because you're trying to, or not even trying, you might be ignoring it and avoiding it. That it persists. What you resist persists. And so having that someone who can bring that light of awareness and different perspective really allows you to dissolve it like that. Years and years of grief, trauma, past, that we carry inside of us, think that, it's impossible to let it go, or we don't even see, is available for you in a conversation. So just know that that's a possibility, and you don't have to do it on your own.